first started my career as a farmer out in California, there was certainly no such thing as a good food movement.
I've known Oran since he was 6 years old. He's always been concerned about food growing in the earth and how it benefits people.
Early in my career, I created an alfalfa sprout business. I was growing and selling alfalfa sprouts. It really grew into a pretty thriving small business.
He was in a very small group of sort of individual entrepreneurs. Somebody shows up who's got their sprouts that they're making.
When I started my career as an academic at Michigan State University, there was no such thing as a good food movement.
He had a different outlook on a lot of the work that he was doing, and we needed that at Michigan State.
He was really starting to build, through his work, a foundation for more sustainable agriculture in Michigan. He was exploring what we now call food systems back then.
He was pushing this very different vision. Words like sustainable were controversial words.
I was relatively early in my career, and I was accepted into the Kellogg National Fellowship Program.
He used terms like sustainable agriculture. He was very excited and invested and determined that this should be.
During my time at Kellogg Foundation, we had aspirations that there would be the growth of a movement that could help really propel food systems into a place of greater sustainability, greater equity, greater support of local economies.
Oran was always confident and determined and kind of on a mission.
He delivered more money at the right time in the right place in support of the local food movement than anyone else in the world.
The funding investments that were made under his leadership at the Kellogg Foundation, I think really set the course for much of what we see in this movement today.
He helped to really move things to a broader systemic understanding and definitely embrace the recognition that the broken food system disproportionately affected people of color.
Some of the early conversations that Oran prompted at the Food and Society meetings really helped that conversation along.
One of the greatest things that they did was not just give money to grantees, but also bring grantees together. I think it seeded so much.
Out of those convenings came brilliant ideas and organizations.
He has always been looking for additional partners, that it was never going to go forward without a whole lot of other people.
From the get-go, when Fair Food Network first was established, and informed a lot because of its work in Detroit, that racial and social equity were placed at the center of the work.
Was on the ground floor, I'm proud to say, of Double Up Food Bucks. What was actually Mo Bucks first, as it started in Detroit in Motown.
And the idea for some form of local incentive that could benefit both vulnerable households and local growers, we were there at the beginning with the pilot.
With the Fair Food Network, Oran has used his relationships, his influence, and his access to funding to advance the movement for a more just, equitable, and sustainable food system.
That's what Oran helped this field do, is see that complex system in its fullness and start imagining what the future could look like if we actually built a system that reflects our values.
I see my great friend Oran Hesterman here and our great Fair Food Network folks. Back in 2009, we had 5 farmers markets in Detroit that started something in part with a Kellogg Foundation grant. Now it's nationwide. We want to build on that, but that idea came from the community.
He tackled the thing that we often talk about in philanthropy, and that is shifting policy.
shifting policy and shifting narrative, and really catapulted the food discussion to different heights.
I can tell you there are any number of organizations and federal policies that would not be in existence right now had it not been, first of all, for Oran's imagination, and secondly, for his tenacity in terms of finding ways to implement his ideas.
So what I have seen throughout my career is really from the seed of an idea that there could be this kind of change to the growth of a movement that is creating a more sustainable future for all of us.